Have you ever stopped to think that the food you consider so innocent, the one you probably ate today without suspecting anything, could be causing silent inflammation in your prostate right at this very moment? Have you wondered why, even though you follow medical treatments, take pills and supplements, you still find yourself getting up over and over during the night, driven by that frustrating urgency to urinate? Or why that weak, uncomfortable, and unsatisfying stream never seems to improve, no matter how much effort you put in? Perhaps the cause isn't your age or the passage of time, but rather what you put on your plate every single day. The most alarming thing is that millions of men around the world consume these exact same foods daily, believing they are good for their health, without realizing that, in reality, they're slowly feeding one of the most common and problematic conditions among men over 60. Today, you will discover the 5 most destructive foods for your prostate, the ones the powerful food industry doesn't want you to remove from your diet because they generate millions in profits every year. In this video, I will reveal with absolute clarity who these silent enemies are that attack your prostate health, the biological reasons behind their devastating effects, and, most importantly, what you can do starting today to protect yourself and reverse the damage accumulated over the years. The most surprising part comes at the end, when you discover a product that you almost certainly have right now in your pantry. But before we dive into that, listen carefully, because to understand why these foods are so harmful, you first need to understand what really happens inside your body. The prostate, a small gland roughly the size of a walnut when healthy, completely surrounds the urethra, that vital channel through which urine flows from the bladder to the outside. When everything works in harmony, you don't even notice it. However, when it starts to become inflamed or grow uncontrollably, everything changes. Your quality of life crumbles. Nights become full of interruptions, deep sleep disappears, and that frustrating feeling of never fully emptying your bladder becomes constant. In many cases, even your personal security and intimacy can be affected in ways few men dare to admit, not even to their doctors. For years, you've been led to believe that this is normal, an inevitable consequence of aging. You've been told that all men your age go through the same thing and that you should just accept it. But that idea is a dangerous lie that can steal years of well-being from you. It's true that over time the prostate tends to grow, but the speed and severity of that growth depend directly on your daily choices, especially the foods you decide to eat. And it's precisely there that the real story begins, the story that can change your health forever. Benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH as it is known in the medical field, is not that unavoidable fate that nothing can be done about, as many have led you to believe. In reality, this condition can be prevented, slowed down, and even reversed in most cases, as long as the true causes of chronic inflammation inside your body are understood and addressed. Here lies the big problem. Almost no health professional takes the time to explain it to you with the clarity and depth you deserve. Chronic inflammation is the true hidden engine, the fuel that drives the progressive enlargement of your prostate. It's not just a matter of hormones or unavoidable genetic inheritance. It's a constant, silent biological process in which your body lives in a state of high alert, desperately trying to defend itself against something it perceives as a continuous threat. And in most cases, that threat comes directly from the foods you eat every day. Each bite of certain specific products triggers a widespread inflammatory reaction, an internal fire that affects your entire system. Your prostate cells, trying to protect themselves from damage, respond by becoming inflamed again and again. Over time, this persistent inflammation leads to abnormal cell growth. The prostate gland begins to expand beyond its normal size, pressing on the urethra that runs through it, and that's when those irritating symptoms appear that so many men know well: weak stream, the feeling of not fully emptying the bladder, waking up at night repeatedly, constant discomfort. The most frustrating part is that many of the foods harming your prostate are precisely the same ones that for years you were taught were healthy, essential, and even recommended by experts. These are products that are part of the typical Western diet, available in every supermarket, promoted by advertising campaigns, and endorsed by official guidelines that we've considered trustworthy for decades. But modern nutritional science has revealed an uncomfortable truth, one that challenges these long-held beliefs. These foods, especially in the amounts and processed forms in which they are consumed today, are fueling a silent epidemic of prostate disorders affecting millions of men worldwide. This is not rumor or theory without scientific basis. We are talking about serious research, studies with thousands of participants followed over years, which clearly point to these 5 food groups as the main culprits behind prostate deterioration. Knowing them can make the difference between continuing to suffer or regaining your well-being. Before continuing, I'd love to know something to connect with our community. Which city or country are you watching from? Write it in the comments. I love meeting people who truly care about their health, and it helps me create content that's more useful and relevant to you and your region. Let's get to the point. So, what are the silent enemies that are sabotaging your prostate health without you noticing? Today, I'm going to reveal them to you one by one with complete clarity. You will not only learn what these foods are, but also why they pose such a dangerous threat to your prostate, what chemical reactions they trigger inside your body, and most importantly, what delicious and healthy alternatives you can choose to replace them without feeling like you are giving up the joy of eating. Pay attention, because later I will share the most powerful tip of all, the one that can completely transform your prostate health in just a few weeks if applied consistently. The first enemy of your prostate is one that almost no one suspects: dairy products in all their forms. Yes, milk, cheese, yogurt, butter, cream, all those foods that since childhood we were taught are indispensable for strong bones and ironclad health. For decades, the dairy industry has invested enormous sums of money convincing you that you need to consume milk every single day of your life. Advertising is everywhere, on television, in schools, in public health campaigns. Everything is designed to make you believe that dairy products are the perfect food. But when you take a close look at the most recent scientific studies, the reality is very different, especially for men over 60 who want to maintain a healthy and fully functional prostate. Large-scale epidemiological research has shown a direct link between excessive, consistent consumption of dairy products and a significantly higher risk of prostate problems, ranging from benign hyperplasia to more serious conditions such as cancer. A comprehensive scientific review published in a reputable medical journal on prostate health meticulously analyzed studies conducted in multiple countries and uncovered something alarming. Men who consume 3 or more servings of dairy per day have a significantly higher chance of developing prostate complications compared to those who consume only 1 or none. This is not an isolated finding, nor a mere coincidence. It is a pattern that repeats consistently across different populations, in various regions of the world, and under multiple study methods. And why does this happen? Science explains it clearly. Dairy products contain very high levels of calcium which, when consumed in excess, can disrupt the delicate hormonal balance in the body, affecting levels of active vitamin D, a key nutrient for prostate health. Active vitamin D is essential because it has exceptional anti-inflammatory power and regulates normal cell growth within the prostate. When this balance is disturbed, it leaves the gland vulnerable to inflammation, congestion, and progressive deterioration. And all of this can start with something as simple as a single glass of milk a day. When excess calcium interferes with vitamin D metabolism, you are losing one of the most powerful shields your body has to protect against abnormal and uncontrolled prostate growth. But that is not the only hidden danger. Cow's milk contains a biologically active hormone called insulin-like growth factor type 1, or IGF-1 in scientific terms. This hormone has a very clear purpose in nature. It is designed to make a calf grow quickly, strong, and in a very short time. However, when an adult human regularly consumes cow's milk, they are introducing a constant dose of this animal growth hormone into their body. The problem is that IGF-1 does not distinguish between a calf and a human cell. It also stimulates cell growth inside the body, including in prostate tissue. If your prostate already has a natural tendency to enlarge over the years, the last thing it needs is an external hormone accelerating that growth even further. That is when many men begin to experience the first signs of inflammation, pressure, and discomfort, which over time become a silent part of their daily lives. The third major problem lies in the saturated fats present in many dairy products, especially in aged cheeses and whole milk. These fats trigger systemic inflammation, affecting every organ in the body. But the prostate, due to its location and sensitivity to hormonal changes, suffers the consequences more directly. In addition, these fats can disrupt your hormonal balance, increasing levels of certain hormones that further stimulate prostate growth. Now, this does not mean eliminating calcium completely from your diet, because it is an essential mineral for multiple body functions. Rather, it means choosing safer and more beneficial sources for your prostate health. Dark leafy greens such as kale, broccoli, or spinach, natural almonds, sesame seeds, and other plant-based options are excellent alternatives. They provide calcium in a highly bioavailable form, without the harmful hormones and fats found in animal dairy. And there's more. These plant-based foods not only supply calcium, but also antioxidants, phytonutrients, and anti-inflammatory compounds that nourish and protect your prostate day after day. Stay tuned, because the most shocking part comes at the end, when you discover the fifth food capable of completely transforming your prostate health. But first, let's talk about the second silent enemy of your prostate, red meat. Especially fatty cuts and all industrially processed meats like bacon, sausages, cured ham, deli meats, and salami. For decades, red meat has been seen as a symbol of power, success, and masculinity. However, behind this symbol lies a truth few men dare to face. For generations, countless men grew up convinced of a deeply rooted idea that to be strong, vigorous, and healthy, it was necessary to consume red meat constantly and in large amounts. But the truth that modern science now reveals is very different, especially when we observe the effect this habit has on the prostate, that small gland that plays such an important role in men's quality of life. The most serious epidemiological studies have confirmed again and again that high red meat consumption is directly linked to a higher risk of significant prostate problems. In a long-term study tracking more than 50,000 men over several years, it was found that those who ate red meat 5 or more times a week had a much higher chance of developing prostate enlargement compared to those who consumed it less than once per week. But the risk depends not only on how much you eat, but also on how it is cooked. When meat is prepared at very high temperatures, whether grilled over flames, fried in oil, or cooked directly on a barbecue, dangerous chemical compounds are formed known as heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These complicated names hide a disturbing reality. These substances are officially recognized by international health organizations as potentially carcinogenic to humans. These compounds can directly damage the DNA of prostate cells, causing genetic mutations and stimulating abnormal, uncontrolled growth. And the more charred or burned the surface of the meat, the higher the concentration of these silent toxins. Additionally, red meat contains saturated fats and a type of iron called heme iron, which, unlike plant-based iron, can generate intense oxidative stress in your body. This process is similar to metal corrosion when it rusts. Slowly, your cells begin to deteriorate, age prematurely, and lose their natural ability to regenerate. When you combine this pro-oxidant iron with the saturated fats found in red meat, you create a true inflammatory storm that hits your prostate directly, damaging it progressively. And if that weren't enough, industrially processed meats such as ham, bacon, sausages, or deli meats are even worse. They are loaded with sodium, chemical preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, and even added sugars that you would never expect to find in a meat product. Every bite of these foods is a small dose of inflammation that, over time, can take a heavy toll on your prostate health. The nitrates and nitrites used as preservatives in processed meats convert, when combined with certain compounds during digestion, into substances called nitrosamines. These molecules have been scientifically associated with a significantly higher risk of developing various types of cancer, including prostate cancer. And the most concerning part is that the industrial curing, smoking, and preservation process adds even more harmful compounds, creating a chemical mixture that the body is simply not designed to handle regularly. However, this does not mean you have to give up red meat forever. The key is to be smart and strategic about how you consume it. If you choose to eat it, do so occasionally, selecting lean cuts with minimal visible fat, cooking them at moderate temperatures, and always accompanying them with a generous portion of antioxidant-rich vegetables. These help neutralize part of the inflammatory impact of the meat. Even better is to replace much of your red meat intake with fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as wild salmon, sardines, or mackerel. These healthy fats have a powerful anti-inflammatory effect that protects, regenerates, and strengthens prostate health. Instead of harming it, they nourish it and keep it balanced. Now get ready, because here comes the third silent enemy of your prostate, probably the most treacherous of all: refined sugar and all the processed foods that contain it in large amounts. We're talking about sodas, packaged juices, cookies, cakes, candies, white bread, breakfast cereals, and practically any ultra-processed product lining the supermarket aisles. Refined sugar is a disguised enemy, hiding in places you would never imagine: pasta sauces, salad dressings, sliced breads, flavored yogurts, and even products labeled as healthy. The real problem with refined sugar is its ability to create abrupt spikes in blood glucose. Every time you consume a sugar-laden food, your glucose levels rise rapidly, forcing the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin to restore balance. When this cycle of spikes and drops repeats several times a day, every day, for months or years, the body begins to lose sensitivity to insulin. This leads to the dreaded insulin resistance, a silent condition that not only affects your metabolism, but also directly impacts prostate health, fueling the inflammation that slowly destroys its natural balance. When your cells stop responding properly to insulin, your pancreas enters a desperate struggle, producing ever more of the hormone to try to maintain blood glucose balance. But this constant effort comes at a high price. Insulin levels remain chronically elevated, igniting an internal fire, a systemic inflammation that silently affects your entire body. This constant inflammation is the main driver of prostate enlargement, but it doesn't stop there. High insulin levels also stimulate the production of IGF-1, a growth hormone that, as we saw earlier, can drive abnormal prostate cell growth. In this way, excess sugar attacks from multiple biological fronts at the same time, gradually weakening your prostate health. Additionally, excessive refined sugar consumption is closely linked to weight gain and obesity, especially around the abdomen. This type of fat isn't just stored fat, it is active tissue that constantly releases inflammatory substances called cytokines and converts some of your testosterone into estrogen through a process called aromatization. This hormonal imbalance, less testosterone and more estrogen, creates the perfect environment for the prostate to grow abnormally. Men with clinical obesity show much higher rates of serious prostate problems. But that's not all. Sugar also feeds harmful bacteria in your gut, profoundly disrupting the balance of your microbiome. And when that balance is broken, your immune system weakens, losing part of its natural ability to protect you against abnormal cell growth. In other words, your first line of defense against prostate problems is compromised. The real solution isn't limited to simply cutting out table sugar. It requires educating yourself, reading labels, and recognizing the many names the industry uses to hide sugar: high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, evaporated cane juice, agave nectar, rice syrup, and many more. A practical rule of thumb: if a food contains more than 5 grams of sugar per serving, and that sugar doesn't come naturally from whole fruits, it's best to avoid it. Instead, choose fresh fruits, loaded with fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. They not only satisfy your sweet tooth, but also protect and strengthen your health, helping your body and your prostate stay in balance. In a few minutes, you will discover something that could completely change the way you understand prostate health. But first, pay close attention, because the fourth silent enemy that directly threatens your well-being is fried foods and anything cooked with industrially refined vegetable oils. Yes, we're talking about those golden, crispy French fries, onion rings, fried chicken, churros, sugar-coated donuts, and a long list of processed foods that hide these harmful oils inside. The most common among them are soybean oil, corn oil, canola, sunflower, and safflower oils. These oils are absolutely everywhere, invading the modern diet and silently accumulating damage day by day, affecting prostate function without you noticing. The main problem lies in their extremely high content of omega-6 fatty acids. Your body needs to maintain a delicate balance between omega-3s, which are anti-inflammatory and protective, and omega-6, which in excess act as true promoters of inflammation. Our ancestors maintained an almost perfect 1-to-1 ratio. But today, in the modern diet, that balance has been destroyed. We consume up to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3, and that imbalance triggers constant internal inflammation that affects your entire body. Every time you eat something fried or cooked with these oils, you introduce a huge dose of omega-6 that your body converts into pro-inflammatory eicosanoids, substances that travel through your blood silently attacking your tissues, including the delicate structure of your prostate. If prostate inflammation is already present, these oils act like gasoline on a fire, intensifying the damage. And the danger doesn't stop there. When oils are heated to high temperatures, as happens during frying, they undergo chemical oxidation that produces highly toxic compounds called aldehydes. These aldehydes are so aggressive that they can directly damage your cell's DNA, alter vital proteins and fats, and promote the development of atherosclerosis, insulin resistance, and abnormal cell growth. Some of these compounds are so harmful that scientists compare them to the carcinogenic substances found in cigarette smoke. What's even more alarming is that the refined oils we use daily go through industrial processes involving high heat, chemical solvents like hexane, and bleaching treatments, stripping them of any natural purity. What might seem like a simple fried food can quietly become one of the most dangerous and silent attacks on your prostate. The end result of all that industrial processing is a product that is no longer natural or healthy, an oil completely stripped of the beneficial nutrients it once had and saturated with oxidized, inflammatory compounds that pose a real danger to your body, especially your prostate. The solution is clear and straightforward. Avoid fried foods as much as possible. In your kitchen, choose oils that are truly healthy and stable, like cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, perfect for cooking at low or medium temperatures. If you need to cook at higher heat, avocado oil is an excellent, stable, and safe option. Virgin coconut oil can also be useful in certain preparations, as it is chemically stable under heat due to its medium-chain fats, though it should be used in moderation. Even better, adopt cooking methods that don't require any oil at all. Baking in the oven, steaming, gentle boiling, or using an air fryer, which employs hot air circulation to achieve delicious results without unnecessary fat. Now get ready, because what comes next may surprise you more than you imagine. The fifth silent enemy of your prostate, the one most men never suspect, is alcohol in all its forms. Thousands of men, especially over 60, have developed the habit of drinking 1 or 2 beers each night or enjoying several glasses of wine on the weekend. Modern society has turned alcohol into a symbol of celebration, relaxation, and social connection. But behind that facade hides a powerful enemy, a constant saboteur that quietly destroys your internal balance and weakens your prostate health without you noticing. Alcohol acts as a direct chemical irritant to the urinary tract. When you consume it, your liver metabolizes it and its byproducts travel to your bladder and urethra, causing irritation to their inner walls. The result? Increased frequency and urgency to urinate, exactly the symptoms any man with a sensitive prostate wants to avoid at all costs. If you already experience discomfort from an enlarged prostate, alcohol not only worsens your symptoms, but also intensifies the discomfort, making daily rest and well-being much harder. Additionally, alcohol profoundly interferes with your natural hormonal balance. Frequent and sustained consumption activates an enzyme called aromatase, which converts testosterone into estrogen. When this happens, your body begins losing the essential male balance that protects prostate function and maintains vitality. In other words, every drink you take without control is quietly weakening the foundation of your male health. As a man, you need adequate testosterone levels to maintain overall health, muscle mass, energy, balanced mood, and sexual function. When alcohol increases the conversion of testosterone into estrogen, you lose valuable, irreplaceable testosterone and gain excess estrogen, something your body does not need. This hormonal imbalance can stimulate abnormal prostate growth and contribute to other male issues, such as increased abdominal fat and gynecomastia, or excessive development of breast tissue. Furthermore, alcohol is toxic to the liver, a vital organ responsible for properly metabolizing and eliminating hormones and their byproducts. When the liver is overloaded constantly processing alcohol, it cannot efficiently perform its hormonal detox function. As a result, certain hormones, including forms of estrogen, accumulate in your system and can directly stimulate prostate growth. Alcohol also interferes with deep sleep. Although it may initially help you fall asleep faster, it drastically disrupts deep sleep stages, especially restorative REM sleep. Lack of quality deep sleep has devastating effects. During these hours, your body repairs at a cellular level, your growth hormone reaches its daily peak, and your immune system strengthens and recalibrates. Without deep, quality sleep, your body cannot efficiently repair the daily damage, including the cells of your prostate. Additionally, alcohol adds empty calories to your diet. A regular beer can contain 150 calories or more, and a mixed cocktail can easily contain 300 or 400 calories without providing any useful nutrients. This directly contributes to weight gain, an important risk factor for serious prostate problems. This doesn't mean you have to eliminate alcohol forever, but if you already have prostate issues, it's worth experimenting. Eliminate alcohol completely for 30 days and observe how you feel physically and emotionally. Many men report significant improvements: reduced urinary symptoms, more restorative sleep, increased energy during the day, and better mood. After those 30 days, you can decide whether to reintroduce alcohol very moderately, limiting yourself to 1 or 2 drinks per week on special occasions, or maintain your new alcohol-free lifestyle. Now that you know in detail the 5 main enemies of your prostate: dairy products, red meat, refined sugar, refined vegetable oils and fried foods, and alcohol, the inevitable question arises: what should you eat to protect and nourish your prostate? The answer is simpler than you might think. A diet that truly protects and nourishes your prostate is abundant in whole, unprocessed plant foods, with a special emphasis on certain groups that have demonstrated specific benefits for prostate health. First, it's essential to incorporate more cruciferous vegetables into your daily diet. We're talking about broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage in its various forms, kale, and bok choy. These vegetables contain unique phytochemical compounds called glucosinolates, which, when chewed, transform into bioactive protective substances. Among them, sulforaphane stands out, which in multiple scientific studies has been shown to reduce inflammation, support the natural detoxification of harmful compounds, and even inhibit the growth of abnormal prostate cells. Ideally, consume a generous portion of cruciferous vegetables every day, without exception. Second, tomatoes are extremely beneficial for the prostate, especially when cooked, because they concentrate lycopene, a powerful carotenoid antioxidant responsible for their bright red color. Studies show that men with higher blood levels of lycopene have a significantly lower risk of developing prostate problems. Additionally, lycopene is absorbed better when tomatoes are cooked and paired with a little healthy fat, such as in a homemade tomato sauce with extra virgin olive oil. Third, nuts and seeds are small packages of concentrated nutrition for your prostate. Walnuts, pumpkin seeds, ground flax seeds, and chia seeds provide anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids, abundant zinc, and lignans that help naturally balance your hormones. A small handful daily can make a significant cumulative difference. Fourth, cold water fatty fish such as wild salmon, sardines, mackerel, and anchovies are excellent sources of long-chain omega-3s, EPA and DHA. These fatty acids reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, protect cardiovascular health, and decrease the production of inflammatory eicosanoids. The recommendation is to consume fatty fish at least 2 to 3 times per week. Fifth, berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries are packed with antioxidants such as anthocyanins and polyphenol, which protect your cells from oxidative damage, reduce inflammation, and support vascular health. Healthy blood flow is vital for all organs, including the prostate. Plus, berries are low in sugar compared to other fruits, so you can enjoy them generously. Sixth, green tea is an exceptional beverage for prostate health. It contains catechins, especially epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG, which have potent anti-inflammatory and potentially anti-cancer properties. Numerous studies have shown that regular green tea consumption is associated with a lower risk of prostate problems. Aim to drink 2 to 3 cups per day. Seventh, legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, and peas are excellent sources of plant-based protein, fiber, B vitamins, and essential minerals. Fiber is especially important because it helps regulate blood sugar levels, nourishes beneficial gut bacteria, and facilitates the elimination of excess hormones through the digestive system. Eighth, extra virgin olive oil should be the main fat in your kitchen. It is rich in oleic acid, a monounsaturated fat, and antioxidant polyphenol with well-documented anti-inflammatory properties. Ninth, dark leafy greens such as spinach, chard, arugula, mustard greens, and dandelion leaves are nutrient-dense. They contain folate, vitamin K, magnesium, plant-based calcium, and various antioxidants that actively support your health. 10th, mushrooms, especially varieties like shiitake, maitake, and common button mushrooms, provide unique compounds that strengthen your immune system, your best defense against abnormal cell growth. Now, I want to talk about something that goes beyond individual foods, your mental and emotional approach to your health. I've seen countless men who know all the right information, who know exactly what they should eat and avoid, yet fail to make lasting changes. Why? Because many approach it from a place of fear, obligation, or deprivation. True transformation happens when you change your perspective. Instead of seeing this as giving up foods you enjoy, start seeing it as actively choosing your health, vitality, and freedom. Every time you choose a plate full of colorful vegetables, you're not giving up anything. You're gaining more energy, better sleep, less inflammation, fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, more confidence, and more years of healthy life. When you change your internal narrative and associate healthy foods with pleasure, self-love, and personal power, everything changes. Suddenly, you don't need willpower. You're not fighting against yourself. A crucial point: you don't have to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. If your goal is to eat perfectly 100% of the time, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, aim for progress, not perfection. If you make 80% of your meals nutritious, you're doing excellent work, and the remaining 20% should be truly occasional, not daily. Here's the secret. After several weeks of healthy eating, your palate changes. Foods you once craved no longer appeal, and your body naturally starts desiring foods that make it feel good. Also, understand that these dietary changes aren't just for your prostate. The same foods that protect it also care for your heart, brain, blood vessels, joints, and skin. You're reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, dementia, and several types of cancer. The benefits extend far beyond you. When you feel better, you automatically become a better husband, father, grandfather, and friend. You have more patience, more energy for the people you love, and a greater ability to be present. I know it can feel overwhelming at first, but my advice is simple. Start with one change. Choose the prostate enemy you consume most often and focus on eliminating or drastically reducing it for 4 weeks. That's it. Don't try to do everything at once. After those 4 weeks, when that change has become your new normal, add another enemy from your list. Move step by step, change by change. This gradual approach is much more sustainable. Involve the people you live with. If your partner does the shopping and cooking, explain why these changes are important to you and ask for their support. Even better, invite them to make the changes with you. If you do the shopping yourself, plan ahead, make a list, stay in the outer aisles where fresh, whole foods are, and avoid the center aisles full of processed products. Read labels carefully. When eating out, don't be afraid to make special requests. Ask for fish or chicken grilled or baked, without butter or creamy sauces, and choose steamed vegetables or salad instead of fries. Remember that health isn't just physical, it's also mental, emotional, and spiritual. Even if you eat perfectly, chronic stress, poor sleep, and social isolation can severely affect your health. Stress raises cortisol levels, which leads to inflammation, hormone imbalance, and weight gain. Sleep is critical. If you don't get at least 7 hours of quality sleep each night, your body cannot repair itself properly. During deep sleep, your body produces most of its growth hormone. Regular physical activity is another essential pillar. You don't need to be an athlete. Walking 30 minutes a day can make a big difference. Exercise reduces inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, and helps control weight. Social connections are also vital. Men with strong, meaningful relationships live longer and better than those who are isolated. Don't let pride stop you from seeking support. Finally, you need a sense of purpose, a reason bigger than yourself to get up each morning. When your life has meaning, your body responds positively. Your body is extraordinarily resilient. It has an innate ability to heal when given the right conditions. Most accumulated damage is not irreversible. No matter your age, you can start reversing damage today. Every meal, every decision is an opportunity. If you've made it this far, type "I care for my prostate" in the comments to show you reached the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and share this video with your family and friends because it can change their lives for the better. And now, watch the video on the screen, because if you don't, everything you've learned here won't matter.